Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Marcus Cage, and this is what I've been thinking with Marcus Cage. In this video, I want to talk about Joe Biden just a little bit. I recently just saw a video where he was confronted by a veteran, a combat veteran. So I will. I will show you guys the clip and then I will give you some of my thoughts on it. I'll try to keep myself from getting too over the top. I know I do have friends and family and elders who listen to me, and I want to try to make sure I try to be as respectful as I can. You know, with the language issues, sometimes it slips. But on a topic like this, it can get swept under the rug by the media very easily. But I really wanted to talk about this and let you guys feel a little bit of how a veteran looks at this, especially a veteran who's had some of the similar experiences as the young man in this video. With that said, I'll get into the video for it and then I'll give you guys my commentary. Hopefully you enjoy. Oh yeah, I'll have one other video that I want to show you also. That's going to be a contrast to Joe Biden's approach and thinking and response to his actions when being confronted, and the opposite, the other person, the other man in the race, Bernie Sanders, and how he decided to handle things during that time. So I will show you both videos and then we'll get into it and talk about it. Hope you enjoy.
They're dead. Millions are dead in Iraq. He will not be allowed to be president. Disqualified. Trump is
Yeah. So now, my thoughts on the video. First thing which frustrates me more than anything is Joe Biden is talking to a veteran who served in a combat area, who had friends who died, KIA, killed in action in the line of duty. When I watched that back and forth, the only thing that went through my mind thinking about it was Joe Biden. If he could have at least just been like, you know what, I was wrong about my decision. I was wrong about my ways and approaches of going about these things. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the losses that you experience. I'm sorry for the anger, for the frustration that you have with me. And please don't count me out. I can fix this. I can make amends. I can do things. Or he could say, I'm just sorry you feel that way. I'm really sorry I made a mistake. But his response is why I'm making a video on this. First, Joe Biden stays and he's a little bit conciliatory and he's fine until he decides to mention his son Bo, and he says what he doesn't care. That's what ticked me off. That's what really set me off, because Joe Biden, your son is not the issue in here. And if you want to blame anything that had to do with that war and which happened with your son, that's your fault. You made that decision. That veteran who is coming up to you, just like I was when I joined the military, a lot of young kids who feel like they don't have a great deal of opportunity out there, or maybe they're not ready to go to college, or maybe their mindset is not there, or maybe they don't have the cash for it. A lot of lower income people end up going to the military. And a lot of us, that's our way of trying to break out of things. And so to listen to somebody like Joe Biden to try to weasel out of that and then use his dead son as an excuse for some kind of sympathy card. No, you did this. You did every part of this. Every part of this. And then not only do you not want to accept it, you want to sit up here and lie. You want to sit up there and try to blow it off. And then I guess the extra thing which infuriated me more about watching the video is towards the end of the video, you start hearing his people chant, Joe, Joe, Joe. Well, what I would be chanting back at them is, I'm a veteran here. I lost friends. I lost brothers and sisters around me. Did any of you people lose them? No, you didn't. And you're going to sit here and you're going to shout me down while I'm talking about a serious issue? Why don't all of you guys really take the time and really just look in the mirror at yourself? Because what you're saying is, for those soldiers who a lot of you guys wrap yourselves in a flag with, and you put your little ribbons on the back of the car and you say, support the troops and do this. When the troop is trying to explain to you what is going on, you shout them down, you disrespect them, and you don't want to listen to them. And then you choose the person who puts them in harm's way. Do you guys know how many veterans out there who are sleeping on the streets? Do you guys know how many veterans out there who have PTSD, who are just ravaged with this? Do you know how many veterans out there who have all kinds of injuries, ones that you may be able to see and ones you cannot see? Just because a veteran's not always complaining doesn't mean he doesn't have issues or problems that he's dealing with. Most of us grew up in a mentality and a mindset of being macho and being tough and not showing your weaknesses. So majority of these young men and women out there are trying to hold it together and are not trying to show you that softer side and what's going on. And through the respect, through what we've been trained in the military, we've been trained to not harbor ill will towards others, to not really look back at some of the factors that put us into the circumstances. We just deal with what we're dealing with day to day. And most of us, while we're in these environments and dealing with these things, we lean on each other. It is not about some kind of imperialism and we believe in the cause. Majority of the people in the military are there for college money. Point blank, period. They're there for college money. They are not there because they believe in what President Trump wants to do or what Obama wanted to do. In fact, most of us detest what both of them wanted to do. I detested what Bush wanted to do when I was in. And then you guys sit up here. I listen to so many of you guys and you scream about how bad Trump is, how Trump is an existential threat and all these things. You want to know what? Under Obama, foreign policy, there's not very much difference. And you guys are thinking, oh, we'll just throw Joe in there and things will be fine. No, all you're getting rid of is you're getting rid of an asshole who does it to your face and taking an asshole who wants to joke about it. It's the same thing. So when you guys are talking about this vote blue no matter who and picking Joe Biden, I at this point don't have patience for anybody who is taking that approach. Either You listen to the person who is trying to make a difference and who has been on the right side of the issues, or you say, you know what, I really don't care about anything. I just think Trump is bad, he's good. Oh, well, nothing else matters. But you know what? There are millions of Americans which this election is make or break how we feel. If you look at the climate issues, we don't feel like we have much more time. We don't feel like we have the time for Joe Biden to get in there and give us some stupid climate accord thing that's going to do nothing. And we're going to continue to have the problems which we're having across this country. This return to normalcy. There's no returning to normalcy. After you had a Trump and after you've had a lot of the things which have been damaged within this government, you don't just get back to a sense of normalcy. There is no sense of normalcy. And then a good point that I heard somebody talking about earlier today, when they say get back to this sense of normalcy, you know what sense of normalcy was me before Trump? Fighting against Obama. So what is that going to be? Oh, we're going to fight to get Biden in there and then spend our whole time protesting the stupid crap that his dumbass wants to do. I get it, older voters. A lot of you guys are good. You don't want a revolution. You just want to kind of, okay, tweak some things around the edges. But what you're not thinking about is for this future generation, tweaking around the edges doesn't do a damn thing for none of us. And if you think that's going to get us to the polls just because Trump is bad, I got invisible bridges to sell you because you are not in touch with reality. Now, I won't go too much further into that. I will calm myself back down. Take a couple of breaths. And I will show you this video that Bernie Sanders has just released so I can show you a little bit of contrast. So you can't say, well, it was this time and well, Joe didn't know this and know that. You know, there were plenty of people who knew better. There were plenty of people who actually took the time to research the issue and didn't care about just whatever the consultant class wanted to do. Joe Biden is that kind of Democrat. Obama is that kind of Democrat. These kind of Democrats are who are destroying the fabric of this America. My thing is, you guys, plenty of people will say, well, why don't you scream about Republicans? Because here's the thing. I expect nothing, absolutely nothing from Republicans. And Republicans pretty much tell me, I plan to give you nothing. So why should I spend any time barking at this person who's telling me I'm not going to give you anything and then doesn't give me anything? I'm going to go after the person who says, yeah, I support you, but then doesn't. And that has been what the Democratic Party has done. Literally my whole 39 years of existence on this earth. Now, I get it. A lot of times, as one of my favorite commentators loves to say, we have to fight to keep the monsters at bay. But at some point, you have to realize that this monster is no different than that monster. And all you're doing is trading one problem over here for another problem over here. And it's like, I'm no Einstein. I'm not the smartest person in the world. But come on, I can't keep spending time running into people who are 10 to 20 to 30 years my senior when all this stuff is happening right around you. And I'm like, were you guys in a coma for 20 years? I mean, how do people not know a lot of these things? And it's not about, well, you guys have the internet now. No, a lot of this stuff I knew back then. I knew about George Bush Sr. pardoning the Reagan officials. I knew about that. I knew that also when Bush went into office, I knew that he hired a lot of those same people. And at that time, I did the research and I was able to look back and realize these same people, these same neocon conservatives who are going around the globe, going after oil, going after nickel cadmium in Bolivia, going after any resource they can in any smaller brown nation they can go after. And Americans just feel like, well, okay, everything's fine. And it's not just Republicans doing this. This is what the issue is. Americans are not paying enough attention to foreign policy. And Obama was doing this stuff too. Clinton was doing this as Secretary of State. I mean, do you guys realize that there are parts of Libya where you can literally walk up and buy an African human being? Now, open block slavery in Libya because of the policies of Secretary Clinton and Obama. And then I listen to people say, well, you guys are just going after her because she's a woman. No, it's not because she's a woman. It's because of her actions. And I feel like because she is a woman and because Obama is a black man, that does not give them a shield. And it's time that we stop giving these people shields. It's time for us to stop saying, well, the Republicans are this bad. Well, our side is not supposed to be only 2 notches better. We need to push more for more things. I mean, a lot of people love Kennedy, but there was movements on the streets that pushed Kennedy to do the things that he did. Even Bernie Sanders, who loves FDR and talks about FDR. FDR had movements of people on the streets ready to go. Joe Biden has what? Yes, he has a whole bunch of older voters who, yes, they're casually going to come out and click the levers. But that's not why Hillary Clinton lost, and that's not why Joe Biden would lose. You lose in the margins. The vote blue no matter who. I've watched them go from Beto O'Rourke to Kamala Harris to this person to that person to that person because it doesn't matter to them. They will vote for whoever the nominee is. It's people like me who are being stepped on and crushed by this society. It's the younger people who are worried about climate change. It's the younger people who are worried about policing. I mean, I watched them blitz Mayor Bloomberg about this stop and frisk. I watched Kamala get exposed about her record. But the person who is the architect, who created the umbrella for all of these things. Oh, I forgot about Cory Booker with his stop and frisk in New Jersey also. All of these things were quarterbacked by a man, Joseph Robinette Biden. Biden did this. And then I sit here and listen to these, I guess, social justice warriors who they're not able to look at things nuancely. They want to go into Bernie Sanders. Well, Bernie Sanders signed this bill. You want to know another thing about this bill? This is why the crime bill really upsets me with Joe Biden, and why it really upsets me it's not talked about more. I can't even fault most of the people who had to sign it. If you know the tenor of what was going on in the country, that was right around the time of the O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown Simpson murders. The Defense Against Women Act was written because of that. And it was forced together in an omnibus bill. And all the senators had to decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to decide to vote against women after you just saw a high-profile white woman be murdered by a black man? And then I have this crime bill here also. So what do you want to do? Pick or choose. Biden forced all of those people into that choice, into that decision. And there was only one person who got up there and had any kind of protest and qualms about it. And then you guys turn around and then want to blast that very man with it. When you have black representatives like Rush and Clyburn and people like that who voted for it also, and you guys give them a complete pass. I dragged on and I got a little bit out, but you know what? I'll let this video end it out. That's all I have to say. You guys have a good one. Thank you.
What some in my party might think. Iraq was a problem that had to be dealt with.
Weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction.
He thought he had weapons of mass destruction. It turns out he didn't, but
I never believed what Cheney and Bush said about Iraq.
I'm an Iraq veteran. I shipped to Iraq exactly 6 days after the war started. As a veteran, I didn't see a lot of Trump children or other rich kids in the military. The military is all people from middle class and lower middle class backgrounds. Those are the people that go to fight the wars. I remember all the ginning up towards the war in Iraq, and I see the same thing now.
Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel.
We have every expectation that people not only in Iraq, but in Iran will view the American action last night
as giving them freedom.
I support Bernie Sanders because he doesn't take money from the defense contractors. He hasn't been meeting with people to start the wars. He's been meeting with people to fight the wars. Bernie Sanders meets with working class families who have had family members who have fought in Iraq. They show him what it's like when you come back from a war. If you don't meet with those people, you don't understand that kind of hardship.